Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. We're going to begin chapter 17 tonight. Please open your books and prepare to chant along with us. Umbul Swaha, Umbulat Swaha, Swaha Swaha, Umbul Swaha, Arjun Vacha Swaha, Yisastari Mutsritya, Yajante Sradagambita, Tesham Yishatu Tat Krishna, Swatamaho Chastama Swaha, Sri Bhagavad Gita Swaha, Trividavadati Sradha, Dehinam Swasvabhavaja, Sarvi Rajasi Chela, Tamasi Chetitam Trinu Swaha, Swatamanu Rupa Sarvasya, Shada Bhakti Bharatam, Shadanago Yan Purusham, Yajatra Satagi Vasat Swaha, Yajatri Satvika Devan, Yacharaksha Si Rajasa, Pridandutta Janaschanye, Yajante Kamasajana Swaha, Ashastra Dividam Goram, Tabyante Ye Tabojana, Dambakam Karasangita, Kamaraja Balamita Swaha, Kashayanta Sharirastam, Bhudrama Chetasam, Mantrayabandam Chak Sarirastam, Kamanabhyaviyasur Nishtitayam Swaha, Ahakarastadi Sarvasham, Hivado Bhakti Priyam, Vijastapastadadanam, Tisham Deda Vivantrinu Swaha, Ayu Sarvanto Rogra, Sukhapriti Vivakana, Rashasmita Sira Vidya, Ahara Sarviti Praya Swaha, Tadamma Lavakan Yushna, Tijna Ruksha Vigadinam, Ahara Nirajasya Shneshta, Nduta Shoka Maya Swaha, Yagayamam Katarasam, Bhuti Pardushidam Jagat, Uchishyam Bhakti Chamedyam, Bojranam Satyam Swaha, Apalakam Siddhiyam Yom, Vidinishto Yadhijate, Yashtabali Veti Prana, Samadaya Satatmika Swaha, Abhi Sandaya Dupalam, Namartamam Chaityan, Ijate Bharata Shrishta, Tanyajam Vidi Rajasam Swaha, Vidikina Samasrishtanam, Mandarina Bhadrakshinam, Shadani Pravidam Yajam, Tamasam Garichakshute Swaha, Neva Vija Guru Grahya, Hudran Chochmajaram, Brahmacharya Ahimsa, Sharinam Tatyojate Swaha, Anukveda Karam Bhakyam, Satyam Vidyadidam Chikat, Swadhyaya Sudam Chayam, Bhamyam Tatyojate Swaha, Manaha Prasada Samyakvam, Monamatma Vinigraham, Bhava Sankshudirityekam, Tapo Manasabhuchate Swaha, Shadaya Parikya Praptam, Tabasta Kantri Vidam Nire, Afalat Sankanchivir Yukte, Satvikam Harichaksate Swaha, Satyaka Brahmana Pujatam, Taboga Veda Tevajam, Priyave Tadaha Proktam, Rajasam Mandram Swaha, Muragrani Padmano, Yadhiraya Priyate Tabam, Tatadam samadaritam svam Nathanamamiti yatanaram Diyanayupakarine Vishekalecha Parecha Tadanam Satikam Sritam Svam Tatupakaratam Palamudrisya Bhakunam Diyanecha Prishtam Tadanam Rajasam Sritam Svam Adeshakarahiya Danam Apakrinyasya Diyate Asakritam Hrivajantam Tatam Samutaranam Svam Om Tat Sat Nideshu Brahmanasti Vidasmitam Brahmanasti Vedascha Yasya Vidapurasva Tasmatu Mamidya Vidapurya Yagadana Papriya Kapartante Vidananta Sakitam Brahmadinam Svam Avidyandami Sandaya Palamyam Papriya Vidana Kriyasya Vidita Viyande Mokshakam Side Svam Sadbhave Sarvavecha Sadiketat Prabhujane Prashaste Katni Kata Sashabda Parishat Vyuchade Svam Vigeta Pasti Danecha Stiti Saditi Chokshate Karmacheva Tadatiyam Sadike Bhadidike Svam Asradaya Kutam Datam Tabatatam Kritam Chigam Asradiki Ushade Bhagram Nachata Kriyuto Vihat Svaha Yati Srimad Bhagavad Gita Susatadasho Adhyaya Svaha Om Bhu Svaha Om Bhuva Svaha Om Svaha Svaha Om Bhuva Svaha Svaha. Let's return to the beginning of chapter 17 and read the translation and discuss it. And the clarity of pure devotion said, those who neglect the procedures of the scriptures and yet perform worship endowed with faith, infused with loyalty and sincerity, is it sattva, raja, or tama? Is it light, desire, or darkness? So Arjuna's question is, if you don't know the scriptures and you have faith and you do the puja anyway, and you have sincerity and you are loyal, what quality is predominant there? And the respected Supreme Divinity said, the intrinsic nature of faith for those who wears bodies is of three kinds, of light, desire, or darkness. Listen. So we're calling light sattva, and desire is rajas, and darkness is tamas. Now listen. Faith is the form of the true being of all, O descendant of the light of wisdom, Arjuna. Man consists of his faith. He is what he believes in. And that's very important for all of us to remember. Because what we believe in is our value system, and our value system is our criteria for judging which actions are appropriate and which are not. So a man is what his faith dictates to him, and he is what he believes in. The men of light worship the shining ones, gods. The men of desires worship the lords of wealth and those who pursue selfishness. The people of darkness worship disembodied spirits and the multitude of others. Bhut, Pret, Pisach. They get pleasure in causing harm to others. And that's the quality of darkness. Men who perform not in accordance with the procedure of the scriptures, united with hypocrisy and egotism, look at me, I am the great worshiper, are attached by the strength of their desires. I desire to be recognized as a great spiritual being. Look what I accomplished through my spirituality. Even those people who torture the elements of their bodies, unconscious of me, know that their objective is a force of division. They have an assured nature. Even when they're torturing their bodies, if they fast to excess, if they try to strenuously undergo heat and cold to excess, if they try to otherwise torture their bodies thinking that they are purifying themselves, then this is an assuric force. This is not a force of purification. This isn't a force of division. The food of all, the sacrifice of all, the austerity, the giving are also of three kinds. Listen to their distinctions. So we have sattva, rajas, and tamas in everything we do. In what we eat, in the way we sacrifice, the way we worship, the way we give, the way we share, in the way we perform tapasya. Listen to their distinctions. Pure people will love food which is tasty, mild, substantial, and agreeable, and is conducive to life, purity, strength, freedom from disease, and gives pleasure. It's sattvic. And we become sattvic by associating with the sattva as much as we can. Those of the quality of desire prefer foods which are bitter, sour, salty, too hot, pungent, dry, burning, which produce pain, grief, and poor health. Potato chips. Beings of darkness like food which is stale, without taste, putrid, or rotten, which is left over and is impure. The sacrifice which is offered without a desire for fruit, observing scriptural procedures with the mind concentrated in the offering, that is an offering of light. So when we make yajna, when we make puja, when we make any offering of oblations, especially at the home fire, the privilege of performing the worship is sufficient fruit for us. And we're observing the scriptural procedures. We're doing it according to the book, with the mind concentrated in the offering, and that's sattvic. It's of the quality of light. O best of descendants of the light of wisdom, Arjuna, that sacrifice which is offered seeking for fruit, or even for the purpose of ostentation, know that to be of the quality of desire. I'm going to make this yajna for you now in order to accomplish your desires. And look at all the things that I'm offering, and certainly the gods will bless you because of my efforts. Just pay the fee. All your desires will be accomplished. That is of the quality of rajas. That sacrifice is said to be of the quality of darkness, which is performed without scriptural procedure, without distribution of food, without mantras, without gifts of appreciation, and which is devoid of faith. Just light the fire and throw the things in. Give the offerings without mantras. Who cares? A man came and watered up. He wiped his hands on a napkin and threw the napkin in the sacrificial fire. That offering is tamasic. It is born in ignorance, it is disrespectful, it has no mantra, it has no sacrifice. And his comment was, God is everywhere, so what difference does it make? Justification. That is of the quality of darkness. The worship of the gods, the twice-born knowers of wisdom, that's the Brahmins. The guru and the wise. The purity, the purification of knowledge, moving continuously with God, causing injury to no embodied being. These are called spiritual austerities. Now this is tapasya. Speech which does not cause excitement, which is truthful, pleasant, and beneficial, which reflects the practice of an individual's course of study, is called the austerity of speech. So if someone is speaking truth to us and we understand that their truth will be beneficial to us, it is uplifting. We can tell the quality of education and experience that comes through their voice. It is the tapasya of controlling your speech. A consecrated mind, gentleness, silence, belonging to your own soul, a completely pure attitude. This is called austerity of the mind. The three kinds of austerities practiced by men with the highest faith without desire for fruit are said to be in union with light. And there is the austerities are surrender of the body and the mind and the soul. So this, if you surrender your body, your mind, and soul, these are the three kinds of austerities on three different levels. Practiced by men with the highest faith without desire for fruit are said to be in union with light. The austerity which is practiced with ostentation for the purpose of attaining respect, honor, or reverence, which is inconsistent and transitory, that is the quality of desire. Just go to the Kumbh Mela, you'll find so many sadhus practicing outlandish types of sadhana and spiritual disciplines just to show the crowds. They don't do it in private. They wait until there's a convocation and a gathering of thousands and millions of people, and then they sit there and say, this is my austerity. This ostentatious sadhana, this austerity is only for show, and it's the quality of desire. That austerity which is practiced with a foolish idea, even torturing one's own soul for the purpose of causing injury to others, that is declared as the quality of darkness. So I'll perform a worship ceremony for you in order for you to slay your enemies. We know that God is going to give victory to the righteous side. Truth, Dharma, is going to prevail. That gift which is given to a worthy recipient at the right place, at the right time, because of the privilege of giving without expectation of return, is remembered as the quality of light. That gift which is given reluctantly, with a specific motivation and an expectation to receive some fruit again in return, that gift is remembered as of the quality of desire, rajas. That gift given to unworthy recipients without respect, at the wrong place and the wrong time, with insult, is declared to be of the quality of darkness. Om Tat Sat, the infinite beyond conception. Om, that is truth. is the three-syllable declaration remembering Supreme Divinity. By that utterance, those who know Supreme Divinity, Supreme Wisdom, and sacrifice were originally created. Om Tat Sat. With the words Om Tat Sat, the Supreme Divinity gave supreme wisdom and sacrifice to the creation. Therefore, those who speak of divinity always begin all acts of sacrifice, giving, and austerity saying, Om, as spoken of in the scriptures. Vishnur Om Tat Sat. Om. Adya Jambudvipe, America Deshe, California Pradesh, and we begin our Sankalpa with Om Tat Sat. Whatever we give, whatever we sacrifice, whatever austerity we perform, we take a sankalpa to perform it. We define what we're going to do and say, hey God, this is my promise to you that I am giving to you in this way. Om Tat Sat. Those who desire liberation perform various acts of sacrifice and austerity and acts of giving without coveting fruit while saying Tat, as in Tat Tvam Asi. Om is the beginning, Tat is the middle. The word Sat is used, son of she who excels Arjuna, in the attitude of truth, in the attitude of pure efficiency, and is also used for auspicious actions. Sat. It's true. It's true existence, it's pure efficiency. It is the word of sadhu. The root of sadhu is Sat. Om Tat Sat. Sat is also proclaimed in connection with consistency in sacrifice, austerity, or giving, and also in actions for that purpose. So any actions that we want to perform, whether they're sacrifice, giving, or austerity, we want to begin with Om Tat Sat, take a sankalpa to give, and then perform. Whatever austerity is practiced or performed or offered or given without faith is called asat. It's untrue, it's unreal, without value here or in the future. Om Tat Sat. And that ends the 17th chapter. Do we have questions, please?
So we have a question about the whole chapter.
Yes.
The chapter begins with a question about whether scriptural knowledge is necessary.
Yes.
Or the knowledge of the procedures of the scriptures is necessary.
Yes.
And I could not gather an answer from the reading of the chapter.
Okay. He says faith is, in every form, is going to bring you the fruit that you wish, the desired fruit. So the knowledge of the scripture enhances the faith. The more I love you, the more I want to know about you and how to please you. And the more faith I have that my actions will actually make you happy. Because I know it makes you happy. I believe that my action will make you happy. So the greater the faith, the greater the pursuit of knowledge. The greater the pursuit of knowledge, the more we act in accordance with scriptural injunctions, with the procedures of the scriptures. So he says again and again, if you offer sacrifice without desiring fruit, observing scriptural procedures, that is an offering of light. If you offer the sacrifice for ostentation, then it's an offering of rajas. And if you offer it with hingsa, with disdain, with disrespect, in order to cause injury to another, it is tamas. So I believe he does answer the question. Please.
Swamiji, there's a question from Gary.
Hi Gary, namaste.
He says, Namaste Swamiji Maharaj. Does this chapter mean we should perform our sadhana only in private and not in mandirs or other public places where we might attract the attention of others?
No, it does not, Gary. It means that we should not go to the mandir to perform the austerity in the view of the public for the purpose of gaining respect from the public. But if we go to the temple to perform the austerities, just because we love God and we love the heritage and tradition and vibration of that temple, then we're not doing it in order to attract the crowd. We're doing it in order to attract the gods. And that is the distinction that they're making. The intention of the worshiper. So it does not mean that only we should perform in private, but it means that we should perform in private and in public as though we were in private. Yes, please, Vishweshwar.
Swamiji, then the thought that I have in my heart is, I do not have the level of consciousness and evenness that allows me to worship completely without regard to the fruits. I may have the lofty goal of a prayer with every puja I perform of bring peace to this universe, but I'm also thinking about bringing peace to Vishveshwar. And so it seems in this definition that would be magistic and therefore not pure worship.
Well, actually it's sattvic, which seeks to purify the worshiper, is sattvic desire. However, I'll give you another example, because when I perform worship, I am so intent upon remembering the mantra that I can't even think about the desire or the fruit. I get so much involved in reciting, in the asana, in the pranayama, in the fire, in the flowers, in all the procedures of the scriptures, that I don't have time to think about the desire. So while I'm worshiping, my mind is totally focused and concentrated in the worship. And every mistake I make in my pronunciation is an error of my attention. My concentration broke for that syllable. And that's why there was an extra syllable or one less syllable. That's where I stumbled. But if I am really paying attention, then I'm not thinking about my fruit, what I'm going to get at the end of this puja. I'm so busy remembering the mantra. How can I think about the future?
What kind of karma does that create, Swamiji, when you're not thinking about, when you're doing that and you're just reading the scripture? Speak to how does that affect your future?
That is called nitya karma. That is nitya karma, because the karma that I have has no relevance to the past, it has no relevance to the future. My present is filled with eternality. And that means that all the prarabdha, all the arrows that were shot from the past that are about to land, they're going to land in unfertile soil where they knock on the door and no one's home. Because all the rivers flow into the sea and the ocean never overflows, in the same way thoughts flow through the mind of a meditating Muni, and the Muni never reacts. And that's just what that form of concentration will perform for us. That's the kind of karma. So when we can recite, just paying attention to what we're doing, and the privilege of being allowed to do it, the past karma clears itself up. And there's only a glorious present to look forward to in the future. Please.
Suppose we are worshipping and we are offering the fire for somebody's recovery in the Mahamrityunjaya mantra. And suppose with each mantra, if I wish that the recovery happens, is that impure worship?
No, it is not impure. You are using your worship for the benefit of others, and you're wishing upliftment to others. And this is a very pure state if you remember those to whom you wish to communicate benefit with every mantra. But however, I think it's very difficult to do. I think more important or more consistent would be to take the sankalpa and say, "Oh Lord, I am performing this sankalpa for the benefit of my beloved. And here are the names of those I wish to designate as recipients of my good karma. And now I'm remembering the mantra and I'm remembering you as I offer each oblation to the fire." And then I don't say, this is for Joe. And this is for Peter. And this is for Sally. Now in our prayer club, we are doing a different thing. We are saying, this is for every one of the members of our prayer club. And we remember their names and we recite the mantra. And it's a different form of worship. Are there other questions? Please.
Usha from Canada has a question.
Namaste, Ushama.
Usha has a question about verse 6.
Yes.
She says that verse 6 is recommending that we do not practice exaggerated mortifications like some of the fakirs. If for us austerity means purity, continence and non-violence, there must be specific tapasya for different individuals.
Absolutely, you're correct there. And we will all gravitate towards the guru who exemplifies the type of tapasya that is appropriate for us. So those of tamasic nature try to hold their hand up in the air for years together and never let it sit down, or they walk around half naked in the cold and think that this is going to bring them enlightenment, or they perform any other austerities we know of many kinds. And some of us are attracted to a guru like Srima, who gives us compassion and warmth and love and wisdom and purifies us. She says, learn how to sit and learn how to breathe and learn how to recite the verses of Sanskrit and how to apply that philosophy in your life. And these are different types of qualities. There are different types of attributes, they are different types of disciplines, and they yield different fruits. Each one of us will be attracted to the guru who exemplifies the greatest degree of perfection according to our aspirations. And that's how we are naturally attracted to one guru as opposed to another. So there are various forms of tapasya, various forms of austerity, and you are correct, Usha.
And she also asks, does the depth or severity of tapasya increase with maturity in our practice?
The depth and sincerity. Severity. Yes, it does. Sometimes, but the definition of severity will change according to our circumstances. For myself, a great tapasya when I was a young man was to sit in an asana for hours together and recite in front of the fire and chant a number of scriptures all in one asana over a long course of time. I was striving for asana siddhi. Today, the greatest severity is in trying to manage an ashram and inspire a community. It is much more severe and much more deep and much more of a tapasya to try to manage the aspirations of all the people in our community than it is to sit. I would love to sit. I long for those days when I could do the tapasya of sitting in one asana, and rather than trying to mitigate the aspirations of all the different personalities that come into our ashram community. So for our definition of tapasya is going to change. The severity will change. The intensity will change. And the definitions will continually evolve so that when we get good at one thing, it's no longer tapasya. It's easy.
Kumari has a question, Swamiji. Verse 14 speaks about worship of the twice-born knowers of wisdom. Can you comment further on the twice-born knowers?
Yes, Kumari Mam, namaste. These dvija, two births, dvija. The dvijas are another name of Brahmins. And the Brahmins are the knowers of Brahman. And they are known as twice born because they take two births. The first is the birth from the womb of mother. They're generated into creation. And then the second is from the womb of wisdom, and they take that birth when they accept initiation in Gayatri mantra. And then they become dvija. And the dvijas are those who know Gayatri. They know that the continual prayer for increase in wisdom is appropriate in every circumstance, and they are constantly submerged in that attitude. That is dvija, two births. They are human beings who remember wisdom in every circumstance.
And she was also wondering if you could comment or explain about brahmacharya, which is mentioned in the same verse.
Brahmacharya means literally to walk with God. Brahma is the Supreme Divinity, and Charya, achar means to behave, and char means to move. So to move with God is a brahmacharya. And those brahmacharya, moving continuously with God is the way it's been translated in this scripture. Those who move continuously with God are brahmacharis. There has been a designation of 4 ashramas in life. The first is brahmachari, which is student life. We learn how we can make a contribution to this world, to make it a better place because of our having been here. And that ashram is called brahmachari. We learn and we cultivate the skills, the talents, and we practice. How will we make our contribution? The second ashram is grihastha. Griha avastha iti grihastha. Those who are situated under a roof. Traditionally called a householder's stage of living, which means we make our contribution. We engender our families and we nourish the society. The third ashram is called Vanaprastha. It means those who live in the forest. And literally it means 1 foot in the house and 1 foot outside the house. So in Vanaprastha, we give the management of the affairs to our children, our families, and we go outside. And we come back and we see, oh, it's still here. and they're still thriving, and there are no major problems. We give them more control and more responsibility, and we go a little farther outside the house. And this is the nature of vanaprastha. We use some of the resources which have been accumulated during our contribution phase, and we use some of that for supporting ourselves and offering to others as we have one foot in the house and one foot out of the house. And then the fourth stage is just the natural progression from vanaprastha. One day we go a little farther and a little farther and a little farther until it's too far to even think of coming back. And sannyas becomes the natural progression of the four stages of life. So traditionally, brahmachari, as they are students, they were unmarried. And if they were unmarried, then they had, as a fact of their lives, was celibacy. So they ate a diet which was not sexually stimulating, and they behaved in a manner which controlled their senses and focused them on their primary objective, which was the accumulation of knowledge. So traditionally, through that tradition, the word brahmachari has become synonymous with celibacy. But that's not the meaning of the word. It means to move with God. And the brahmachari, celibacy is one small aspect of brahmachari. But certainly not the definition. So those who move with God, who seek for knowledge, who are lovers of God, who respect the Guru, who serve the ashram community, they are known as brahmachari. Those who are striving for the purity and the clarity and the resources with which to nourish the society when they are ready.
Kumari has another question. This chapter speaks about speech which is truthful, pleasant, and does not cause excitement. Sometimes we have to speak in an excited way to make a point in practical life. How do we know that our speech is the truth? It may be our righteous attitude or point of view. How can one literally follow this practice? Will Swamiji please say a few words to clarify?
Namaste, Kumari. If we put an interlude of discrimination between our stimulus and response, we know whether we're speaking, even if in an excited manner, if we've thought about what we're going to say and where it's going to go, and we have control over our speech, then our speech may be excited in order to inspire the most noble conduct in our listeners. Our speech need not be monotone or monosyllabic or monotonous or just plain boring. It need not be. According to definition, if we are speaking truth, if we are speaking with conviction, with sincerity, and with loyalty, if we are communicating something which is appropriate to an appropriate audience in the right time, in the right place, in the right circumstances, it's sattvic. Now, if we're flying off the handle and throwing pots and pans at the door and trying to make our point with great excitement, without control, that speech is tamasic. So herein lies the difference. Look at the intention of our actions, and then we can define which qualities are prevalent.
Nanda from San Jose has a question. Swamiji, can you please tell us how we can consciously transform a tamasic mind or thoughts into a sattvic one?
First ingredient is satsang. Hang out with good people. And try to be like them, and be among them, and be with them, and try to comport ourselves in the same way that the good people comport themselves. The best way to become a saint is to hang out with other saints.
Wendy from New Jersey is asking,
Namaste, Wendy Ma.
Swamiji, can you please speak more about how to use the words Om Tat Sat in our life so that we may receive its blessings?
Try and make it the preface to every action you perform. Make it a continuous japa. Make it every time you give something. Inwardly or outwardly say Om Tat Sat. Every time you start your puja, you'll say, if you read the books that we've written, they all start with Om Tat Sat. Every worship, every sacrifice, every time you give, every time you perform any austerities, say Om Tat Sat. And remember their definition of Om Tat Sat, Om the infinite beyond conception, and therefore always speak of divinity, always begin all acts of sacrifice, giving, and austerity saying Om. And remember that all acts of giving and sacrifice and austerity are not coveting any fruit, you're just giving, that's Tat. And then remember the pure attitude of pure efficiency, the attitude of truth, the attitude of all auspicious actions, the attitude of a sadhu, that's Sat. And remember Om Tat Sat. And let that be your guide to controlling your own attitude. Om Tat Sat.
Michael from Colorado has a question.
Namaste, Michael. Namaste, Karen.
Namaste, Swamiji. Could you please comment on the value of Ayurveda to the devotee living in the workaday world? How does it support sadhana? Thank you.
Ayu means life. And Veda means the wisdom. And aren't we studying the wisdom of life right here? Now, there's a wisdom of the spiritual life and the wisdom of the physical life. And Ayurveda tries to create a bridge so that we study how the different attitudes of the body are reflected in different attitudes of the mind. And by controlling our mind, our body, we can recognize the soul that we wish to be. There's a unity and a harmony between the mind and the body and the soul. And that's how Ayurveda will help. Not specifically taking this, we call it jeli buti. What would you call herbs and medicinal plants? Not specifically which plant or herb shall I take to correct which function of my body, but which mental attitude should I project in order to make a harmony between my mind and my body and my soul. This would really be useful information to us. The Kopiraj, doctor, the Ayurvedic doctor, would be the one who can tell how do we heal the various portions of our body. We are interested more in becoming doctors of the soul. And we become those kinds of doctors by controlling our minds, making a harmony between the mind and the body and the soul.
Swamiji, the chapter talks about 3 types of austerities.
Yes.
And you had said that it's surrender of the mind, body and soul. Can you speak a little bit more? How do we do that?
How do we surrender mind, body and soul? Well, we start with what we can do. That means the body. Because I can grab onto the body a lot more effectively than I can grab onto the mind. My mind is a bundle of thoughts, and it's so subtle. I see them and they come on like that. I can't grab them. So the first thing I want to grab onto is my body, and I'm going to control my body. And that means asana. And then I'll control my breath, because more subtle than the body is the breath. And then I'm going to follow the breath into the mind. And then I'm going to take all the thoughts of the mind and dissolve them into light. And make that light the light of wisdom. And now only is wisdom, and that's even more subtle than the mind. Now I'm going to take all that light and bring it up into Sat Ananda. The true being, the true existence is the consciousness of infinite bliss. And I went from the Anumaya Kosh to the Pranamaya Kosh. And from the Pranamaya Kosh to the Manomaya Kosh. And from the Manomaya Kosh to the Vijnanamaya Kosh. And from the Vijnanamaya Kosh I went to the Anandamaya Kosh. And that's how we do it. Just by focusing our attention on different levels of consistency. Consistency meaning thickness. The Anumaya Kosh is tangible. It's thicker than the Pranamaya Kosh. And the Pranamaya Kosh is even more thick, has greater degree of consistency than the Manomaya Kosh. The Vijnanamaya Kosh has even greater subtlety than the Manomaya Kosh. And the Anandamaya Kosh is Sat Ananda. It is the most fine of them all. And when the duration of our privilege of residing in the perception of the Anandamaya Kosh draws to a close, we take all of that bliss and put it into the light. And we return to the Vijnanamaya Kosh. And take that light of wisdom permeating them as far as we can perceive. And take that and let it trickle down into the Manomaya Kosh and fill all our thoughts with the light of wisdom and bliss. And take all the thoughts filled with wisdom and light and bliss and put it into your breath and come from the Manomaya Kosh into the Pranamaya Kosh. And breathe that bliss and light, wisdom of all your thoughts into the creation. And open up the senses into the perception of the Anandamaya Kosh, which is the manifestation of all of my love and my light and my wisdom and bliss. And that's what this creation is. And that's just how we do it.
Swamiji, Usha actually has a question for you related to that.
Certainly.
The Guru sees things about us that need purifying that we cannot see and can give appropriate tapasya. Do we need a personal Guru to grow? So many people nowadays do not have that kind of guidance, Swamiji.
It's true, Usha, and it's a shame. And yes, it is true. We do need a personal Guru that can give us that kind of guidance. Because even from a distance, we get inspiration, but we can't get the personal guidance that is necessary. And what will happen, Usha, as our relationship grows and our inspiration grows, one day you'll feel the appropriateness of coming and staying with us here in the Devi Mandir and being with Sri Ma in person and getting to share with us personally in the relationship of guru and disciple. So it is a requirement, and unfortunately so many people are so busy with their worldly tasks that they don't have the time and the inclination or the inspiration or even the information. Where do I go to get started? So look at the benefit that is being conveyed just by a webcam and be able to communicate this inspiration around the world. But yes, the time will come that we will need to sit together side by side so we can see how your toes tuck under your thighs, and how does your heel fit right into the Muladhara, and how does your backbone curve as it goes straight up, and how are you breathing? Because those corrections we can't make by long distance, and they will become important to us all. The philosophy we can all understand. The inspiration we can all understand. Even the suggestion, the classes on how to do worship, how to do puja, how to do a homa, what is a yajna, we can all understand long distance. But then there's the fine-tuning that just comes in our personal relationship, where you want to feel the bhav of your guru.
Swamiji, Wendy had a question from last night.
Yes, Wendy.
She said that it's a sankalpa question connected to long distance. If we chant along with everyone while they are at the fire, but we are at home, do we still get the fire credit, meaning 10 times?
Oh yes, Wendy. You still get the credit. You get even more credits because you're doing something that's really difficult to do. You're maintaining the integrity of your sankalpa and the loyalty and sincerity of your dedicated search. You're maintaining that even when you're alone or away from the group which is doing it together. You get even more benefits than we do. Because here even we're a handful of people that get together, and we know that we're radiating out around the world, and even greater handfuls are coming, and more people are chanting with us. And if you do it by yourself, you get even greater credit, Wendy. So please add that to your score. I will.
Sadhuma has a question, Swamiji.
Namaste, Sadhuma.
It's based on her thinking from the class last night.
Yes.
She says that there are saintly beings that fully manifest divine qualities, and there are those who manifest qualities of division. Do most human beings have both types of qualities?
Absolutely. All of us are born with three gunas, sattva, raja, and tama. And we are trying to cultivate the sattva to become in a habit of being predominant over rajas and tamas. The others will express themselves, but we would like to minimize the effects of rajas and tamas so that they don't get us into any more trouble than we're already in today. So most of us are mixed. Not necessarily mixed up, but mixed. We have some rajas and some tamas and some sattva. And our objective is to cultivate the sattva so it predominates over and controls the tamas and the rajas.
And she has a continuation. She says, in most families, it seems that most families have members that have both kinds of qualities. There may be many members that are forces of division, but then there will still be the saintly grandmother or father. How is the jiva to understand their own karma by the family they are born into.
Each family provided an environment for us which was conducive to the strengths of character that we will need in order to face the basic tribulations of our manifestation, the basic objectives of our manifestation. And when you look at the family, you can look at all the different personalities, but I wouldn't worry about that. I'd look at yourself and where you want to go and look back at them and say, I appreciate all the inspiration, all the inputs that you gave to me so that I could be where I am today. I just want to acknowledge your contribution to my edification. Because I like where I'm going, I like where I'm at, I'm doing